Six Karma secured themselves a win in the upper finals with some crazy tricks that they've done on the server. But honestly, that's not the only crazy trick we've seen, because we've got some pretty interesting mouse gameplay. Okay, that was a joke. We're gonna go back to that later. First, let's talk about the games that are coming up next. We have Spacestation Gaming up against Elevate, and the winner of this match is gonna be heading up against Six Karma. The loser is gonna drop down and face Ninjas in Pajamas in the semifinal in the best of 3. So those are played later today, which means that unfortunately, by the end of today, we're gonna be saying goodbye to not one, but 2 teams, which is a little bit sad, but it is what it is. Spacestation Gaming coming into this, some might say the favorites, some might say it's Elevate. I guess we're gonna have to wait and find out. But once again, we have a bit of a rotation, considering this is the final best of 1 of today. We brought in these casters. One of them is very lovely. Their name is Ace, and then there's this other caster called yeah?
Our reputation precedes us,
doesn't it just? Dev, yeah.
Which one?
He's not important, don't worry about it.
Who came up with the name first? Was it Dev? Was it Dez? Who
Me,
copied who?
I am well older than Dev. Therefore, it was definitely me first.
I'm well older than everybody, so.
Weird flex, but okay. Anyway, guys, you do your thing. Take it away. Talk about how old you are. Talk about how great the games are going to be.
Thanks very much, Ginny. Tim.
We're back.
We're back. It's going to be so much fun. And look, you know what? I feel like Saya, because it's just dark sea. I feel like in these black chairs as well. And in this like blazer, like I could be a real good like evil mastermind.
I mean,
like I could definitely pull it off.
Yep. The studio is pretty dark. I can't see half of it. A, because of my vision, but B, because I forgot my glasses as well.
I could be like,
oh, do the chair spin.
I've been expecting you, Mr. Tim. We could do this whole thing.
That wasn't the line. That wasn't the line that you should have hit us with.
What should I hit you with?
It should have been siege time, Des.
Oh,
I've had to tell him now. I've ruined it.
Come on, do it with me. Do it with me.
Hang on.
Okay. You ready? You're off the camera at the minute, mate. Come this way a bit. There you go. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. It's siege time! That's going to do for that one. We've never done a chair one before. That's a new one. I like it. Awesome. Well, we've done a bit of a mess around. Shall we talk about
some siege?
Elevate versus Spacestation. I think for most of you that have watched international games before, these 2 teams are no strangers. You know the orgs well, Spacestation especially. They've won the 6 Invitational before. Big time team, lots of roster changes coming in, including a changing in coaching staff as well. You know, Lycan, who was very much a permanent fixture on this team, we've also seen him move on as well. But Elevate have made a couple of changes of their own. There's no more Super Onigiri, you know, for for all argument's sake, you know, he was the guy. He was him on this team. He was the go-to out-and-out fragger. So both teams have kind of got a point to prove, I feel. Spacestation had a good stage, didn't do too well in playoffs, hence that's why they're here in phase 1. So it's kind of it's a point to prove for both teams, I feel, going into this game.
I think it was a little hit and miss. You know, they are good and bad in the playoffs, for me, did Spacestation. I was thinking about this earlier, actually. It raises a really interesting point with our format. So Spacestation, I look at it and I think, you know, yeah, they made some wholesale changes. Bosco, Rampy, you know, particularly going Yeti as well, who, you know, was instrumental for the short time that he was with the team. But huge changes for Spacestation. But they look great in stage 1 in NAL. And then they come in, like you say, a little bit hit miss. They might have felt a little bit disappointed at not making it straight into phase 2. I think it's fair to say. But they get themselves into the major. That's the important thing. They're here in phase 1. But then I was wondering about it, Des. You know, they've got that time through phase 1 to like warm up a little bit now. You know, when they're going up against those phase 2 teams, it's going to be the first time those phase 2 teams are playing. Whereas, you know, the phase 1 teams have had those couple of games. Your Sonics, your Space Stations. I think they could be really dangerous because of that.
We talk about it quite a lot when teams have had that chance to warm up and they come in kind of with the motor already running. They're in 3rd gear while you're still trying to get off the starting line. It can net 3-4 rounds sometimes, and it doesn't sound like a big deal, but it can work into being just that small enough an advantage that you actually need to get over the finish line. So heaven knows on that side.
Yeah, we'll see as it progresses. Obviously, Elevate that they're going to be going up against as well. Like you said, plenty of pedigree.
Yeah.
pedigree for upsets, I would say, more than anything, but a very different roster than the one that we used to seeing. No Sapa, no Super Onigiri, all changed, but they have got some experienced hands come in. Speakeasy, plenty of experience coming in there. They do have a stand-in, I believe, so
Sunan, their coach,
Sunan is going to be, it's not always the worst thing when a coach has to stand in. Obviously,
he used to be a player.
He used to be a player, so technical ability should be at least okay. And you've got a thorough understanding of the strats. It's not like just having to bring in another player and get them ready quickly.
Right, map veto's ready. Let's have a look at what map we're going on to. It's going to be Oregon, which is an interesting one because of both of these two teams. It's up there as a top 2, top 3 team. Both have had good recent success on it. It feels like both teams are happy going here rather than it just being a very kind of middle ground map.
Yeah, I think, quite often I joke about it. I say, for me, it's more Oregon. I do love a bit of Oregon if you get 2 good Oregon teams on there. And I think that's exactly what we're going to see this time, Des. Like you say, it's a map that's favoured for both of them. SSG winning it 3 times in NAL Stage 1. They're going to be good there.
I've just realised, you probably can't see that TV, can you?
No. Not at all.
This is breaking the fourth wall. We've got a TV over there that he keeps looking at. I'm like, Tim, there's a TV right there. And just realised you can't see it.
I can't. Not one bit.
Bless his soul.
So if you see me looking off over there,
it's
not because I'm staring into the distance. It's because there's another television on that side that I can't see. So you've basically got...
You're not casting off that TV, Tim.
You've got the choice of me looking that way, or you've got the choice of me looking to my left. But how about we look at this game, Des? We're going into Oregon. It's going to be SSG versus Elevate, and I have been looking forward to this matchup all day. There is always the potential for upsets, but I'm going to throw it out here early, Des. I really like SSG coming into this major. I know that they didn't make it into phase 2, but they've got J9O and Forest who've come in from Astralis. They've gone fantastically well. You've also got Merc, who's been brought in. So much experience there. Former world champion, alongside Fultz, another world champion. Just, there's so much for this team to work with. And honestly, I think we might just see Spacestation have a much, much better and deeper run than they did at SI23, for example, where, let's be honest, it really wasn't their best showing.
I honestly wouldn't be shocked to see them being a finalist team, and I know it feels very early to say
genuinely,
that.
I don't disagree.
But I really think you could see this team be a grand finalist because they've had a bit of time to get the gang together to figure things out. They've battled their way through playoffs as well. They've shown what they can do. Sure, was it the go-to result they wanted against M80 when M80 pushed them down into the lower bracket? Absolutely not. Not when you have Spacestation coming in with the auto buy into the second round for sure. But I think you ought to see them warm up the more and more this competition goes by. But let's not write Elevate off either. There is still every chance that they can battle their way through here. Now, you touched on a couple of these players. Forest, I do really want to raise up for a second because I spent probably the entirety of the 6th Invitational bigging this guy up. Back on Astralis, he was going through the ropes in terms of what role he was playing, right? He was jumping left, right, and centre. He was playing support for part of the year. He was playing more towards entry and flex for another part of it as well. A real multi-role player, but consistently you had like plus 30 on entry, I think it was. He was right up there battling with players like Nuas on entry as someone that had played most of the year on support. Genuinely a really terrifying player that you have to respect. And so looking down the whole lineup, as you've said, 2 world champions on there. Hot and Cold's unbelievable. J9O, part of Astralis, who also, of course, alongside Forest, made it to the grand final back in Charlotte. There is every chance this team has got fraggers in every single role, so we'll keep a really close eye out for how they do. Probably the blessing for them being as well that they start in defense here on Oregon. Elevate are the ones who are going to have to unravel this maze that SSG put before them and figure out how to start getting some rounds on the board, because if they don't get started well, Tim, this could be a real punishing first half.
Certainly could. Let's get into things then. We head into our action phase all the way down in the basement, and we will have Speakeasy straight away getting himself into the bunker, looking to open up the door. Pressure onto elbow. Hot and Cold nitro in hand though, and the thing is, with that nitro already pulled, there's going to be no audio cue, and that could be very, very dangerous if he can manage to get a deep throw. I think Hot and Cold's actually just moved away from that position. I'll tell you what, not a second too soon, Des.
Absolutely no. Ney going in towards what's often known as Shaiko spot as well, just inside the single door when you're coming in from the construction side, because believe it or not, a player called Shaiko on BDS often plays in that exact
You might
position.
have heard of him.
You may well have heard of him. Known as one of the best players in the game, but that is the spot that he always plays. Some good pressure coming in earlier from Elevate, forcing J9O back down, but Forest is the first one to strike, already taking down the Yana, and I believe a nade offline at the same time.
We know how good Forest can be, particularly on the fragging. Forest and Fultz particularly doing extremely well in stage 1. Both of them picking up over 100 kills, really going fantastically. And we expect to see more of the same in this one. I mean, Hot and Cold's, you know, he's got to be worth a shout as well. Another one for you to watch out for at home. Maybe you've not seen too much of SSG before. Hot and Cold, these two teams actually met at SI23, Des. As you'll remember, they played in Group A. It was 2-0 to SSG on that day. Hot and Cold had a fantastic day. I think he was second in frags, and he had an 80% cost across 2 maps. It was a 7-4, 7-3 with the 2 score lines, and Hot and Cold went fantastically across 21 maps. 80% cost is crazy, really.
Yeah, for those of you who haven't heard of cost as a scoring before, it means kills, objectives, survive, and trade. If you do any one of those things in a round, you get a little mark against your name, and as you can imagine, the rounds that you get a mark against one of those 4 areas counts as yes, others count as no, and therefore you get your 80% across all them. So yes, very good going for a player like Hot and Cold. Still, let's see how Elevate start to stack up. They've got a big focus here in towards Big Tower. They're working their way down here, coming in for one at the same time as the drop comes through, but SSG are just clinical. J90, the only one taking a small tickle, but it's a flawless round as Elevate look limp in that first round.
Mop them up like a spilt drink there, Des, down in the laundry, and as you say, claim themselves the first in flawless fashion, and that does not bode well for Elevate. Obviously, it's always going to be difficult, you know, when you're coming in, maybe with your coach standing in, there's a whole storyline there, but essentially, you got to play as you are in the server. That's just how it goes. And SSG, they can only play what's against them, and they've just done that fantastically well. The worrying part for Elevate, for me there, is some of those shots that were getting hit. They were almost casual from SSG there. They're looking focused, they're looking nice and calm, casual about it, and they feel dangerous for me today. I know we're only a round in, but they feel dangerous.
For me, a lot of it was the composure being shown too, because Elevate had the right idea. Send a couple of players down Big Tower stairs, have one drop in through E-Box hatch. It gives you a nice little crossfire onto the player, Merc, that was sat on pillars. But rather than Merc looking up towards the tower stairs alongside the player that was on Shaiko, he left the Shaiko player to do that alone and also had support from a player inside of site itself, as you saw the Vector coming in from Hot and Cold to just beam down the player that was on big stairs. So Merc knew what was coming, turned towards E-Box and sprayed the player down as he tried to push through. It's just SSG having all bases covered. There were no surprises that upset them. It wasn't like oh, well, we were all looking the wrong way. They just had the answer. And now for the second round in a row, Speakeasy is the first to go down. It was as the Iana last round. It's Sledge here, and he goes down with both of those frag grenades still in back pocket.
Could be again getting into the map quickly. We saw this last time. It was Speakeasy on the Iana who tried to push into bunker quickly. This time there's a little bit of pressure put out towards small tower, but there's going to be not too much resistance there for the time being. They've got that ground taken. The Ash is working his way in alongside Ape on the book as well. Just trying to again take that kitchen position. We've seen how vital this kitchen security position is. It started being played a lot because you can open the ceiling up in security and actually play underneath the double window that leads directly into site. It prevents attacking teams from just hopping in through that window and getting the diffuser down. So J90 in a very important position here, and it could be that they just look to get in there and clear him out as a priority. But saying that, Ape has moved away now a little bit more on towards that main lobby side, maybe trying to push into Armory. J90 taking a little bit of damage, but he's got the hatch open. He's likely to drop himself away before this gets too dangerous.
I like it because Ape here wrapping around through Zulu means they can get some good pressure in from both shower side and off towards the right, but it's a 1v1 being isolated. He swings a bit too late. Really wanted to chase him down there, but again, great movement coming out from SSG. J90 respecting it perfectly and manages to dip away here into the nethers of the basement. Not really a place where anyone should be, given we're defending the upstairs, but making use of an escape route, absolutely perfect. And now Ape has been found from above and then finished off from the same floor. SSG are just in full control of this map.
They really are. Happy, unfortunate they're getting taken down by the Vector. Suna manages to find one, which is at least going to give them something to work with. And there's a second coming in for Elevate, leaving themselves now 2 versus 3. This is a round that is winnable from this position. The difficulty is always attacking onto top floor. You need a real man advantage for me when you're trying to push yourself on into site. 2 versus 3 for SSG. They can just hold the angles now. They know where where this push is likely to be coming from, and they're just going to play time.
And they've got 2 C4s in back pocket. They should have no real reason to step forward for these gunfights massively unless they really want to prove a point. It feels they could just toss C4s wherever they want, but at this point, Sudan's got no idea. He doesn't know where his left from his right is, walks in and is blasted down. Comfortable M once again from SSG, and this is what we were concerned about in the pre-game, Tim, is for SSG, 5 absolute gunners on side. They look well drilled coming into this game. I've seen Hot and Cold flicking through a couple of the strat sheets off towards his right-hand side. There's a game plan, they're executing it super well, and despite Elevate trying a couple of nice little things here and there, they're just being absolutely destroyed by the American side.
I mean, it's a lot of what we expected to begin with, to be fair. You know, we're not sort of writing Elevate off in this one. You know, there are always 2 teams in every server of Siege, but it is always going to be a big ask for Elevate. As I say, SSG quietly for me, I don't want to put too much pressure on them yet. There's much bigger games for them to come, but just given their performance, reaching 2nd place through the group stage of, you know, NAL Stage 1, I just feel like there is a real potential for a good LAN performance to come in for them in this one. So it was always going to be a tough starter for Elevate, and I mean, unfortunately, I don't want to talk in terms as if Elevate have already lost this, because they haven't. There's a lot of Siege to be played.
I mean, speak for yourself, Tim.
Right, okay, what I will say is, looking at
Let's calm down now.
Looking at either team, whichever team loses this, they're going to go up against an NIP side who have just been beaten by 6 Karma, are going to feel like they've got something to prove, and are never going to be an easy match, especially in a knockout situation. So, you know, the prospect going forward from here is not too pretty for later on today.
No, I mean, I'm excited to see that game later. We are casting that one as well, which will be our last game of the day, so you can look forward to that one. But now, of course, still got to find our way through here. Good pace being shown by Elevate, already looking to push their way through this top floor particularly quickly so they can get some control of Attic before they start looking in towards meeting itself. And this side's quite interesting because you see a couple of styles of attack coming in onto it, really, where a lot of teams for the longest time defaulted to was coming in from the north side, so behind where Forest is right now, and opening up the double wall, normally using something like an Ossa, putting the shield down, planting behind the shield on the stage itself, and that was normally the go-to. Whereas here, Elevate have opted not to bring the Ossa and instead want to go for a full top floor clear. Where I'm a little bit nervous about that is SSG have held ground really aggressively, like you're seeing here, and beating them on their entry. Again, great team play coming through, and Elevate are being given nothing. There is far too much ground to clear, too many players to push on through, and this is looking like another flawless round coming out for SSG.
I don't see anything that Speakeasy can realistically do here. SSG 5 versus 1, they've got the top floor, they've cut them down at every angle that they've tried to push into the building Elevate. It's been a real tough one for them, and just this is maybe, it's not even about taking time to have a chat amongst yourselves. Like Speakeasy, he'll try and do what he can do, but they know exactly where he is. Hotton sees him on the door trying to push in through Trophy. They know that he may rotate back around, but you know, for the time being for Speakeasy, I think it's just take a little bit of an opportunity, see if anybody pushes you. Maybe you get a cheap kill or two, you know, somebody chasing that final kill. Maybe you help yourself level the odds a little, but it's just so unlikely.
More of a chance for a timeout, I imagine. Again, for those of you looking at this thinking, why isn't he fighting? This is something else that we see a lot of teams do, is when you're in a 1v4, a 1v5 like this, and you know the round is 99.9% not winnable, you use it as a timeout. So rather than calling in a 60-second timeout or whatever it is that your team gets to use to talk to each other, use it now. Just sit and wait, have a chat like you can see them doing here, and just figure out what needs to be corrected, because realistically now, that's been 3 rounds, 3 different sites that Elevate have been absolutely decimated on and need to find a new idea. They've got to take a new approach, otherwise they're going into the second quarter doing exactly the same as they've done in the first 3 rounds, and they're being absolutely brutalized all over again. 3-0 to SSG, and a timeout coming in for Elevate, just to double down on the time they had there available to them.
I don't think that's a bad choice.
No, I love a 3-round timeout, me. First quarter goes by, timeout, have the chat.
I think not just necessarily, you know, I agree with you there, the 3rd round choice, but also the fact they've effectively just had a minute and a half. So what you've done is you've put 5 minutes nearly onto SSG. You've put the brakes on. You know, you stop them being able to at least continue that momentum. Do I think it's going to be the difference maker? In all honesty, no, I don't. But I still think, you know, yeah, as far as your decision, you know, they can only make the decisions as best they can in the circumstances, and I think it's a good choice for Elevate.
What I will say though, Tim, they've got 2 kills so far across 3 rounds.
It's not good.
I mean, let's call a spade, Tim. It's terrible. It's tragic.
But we do have to remember, this is not the full-strength, normal Elevate lineup that we would expect to see.
It's not.
Barcode is not here. We've got Sunan in place.
But Sunan's got one of those 2 kills.
But
so he can very happily sit there.
I'm trying.
He can very happily sit there and go, I got my one. It's more the truth is to the point of, you know, players like Speakeasy that we were holding up and saying, okay, they've got to make a difference. Or
this is the time you've really got to make a difference.
Or Ape, we've got to see play well too. SSG are just giving them no room to be able to get a kill, really, though. I mean, again, look at Jane Arno when he was playing inside of security in that last round. Took a kill, immediately dropped through the hatch, and, you know, it was quite narrow to being caught out, but even the Buck had to stop chasing him. Ape had to give up that gig altogether and just say, right, we've got no idea what's going on down in basement. We know that SSG have been playing in 2s or 3s pretty much across the entirety of these 3 rounds. We'd be stupid to go chasing him into an area that we don't yet have information on. So it's kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't. You can't chase down the kills, but if you don't, SSG will take 3 kills away from you. But again, that's why I keep on stressing, this has been a masterclass by SSG so far, showing a lot of discipline, a lot of control, and giving Elevate absolutely no room to create any opportunities.
Let's get back into it then. Tactical timeout will be over, and SSG now just have an opportunity to rinse, repeat, and just follow the same rotation. Down to Laundry they go for round 4.
Ah, classic. When things are going south, what do? Bring him on, team. Exactly.
Throw the shield.
And the thing is, I don't hate this from Elevate either. You know, looking at how the last round went, they wanted to push in through Big Tower. They clearly want to try and do something similar again, likely playing around the E-Box hatch, but also working in through Big Tower. There's a good bit of drone in there, and Jane Arno's up here. The only danger is they battle that drone away pretty quickly here, and Jane Arno has kind of said, right, let's do what they won't expect. Let's go aggressive once a drone has seen me, rather than trying to pull back and play safe. They've got to be really careful. Oh my, no! This is what I mean! They didn't expect them to come down so aggressively, and he's picked up arguably the most crucial operator to this whole attack. It's the Monty. There is no spearhead, there is no impenetrable wall of defense marching at your face anymore. This is just like the previous round. They might even get a second kill with a C4. No, just dodging away. Oh no! The aggression from SSG is paying dividends, and Elevate are not showing enough respect.
You just thought for a second, Ape picks up the trade onto J9, and you think, yep, maybe they can keep themselves in it, but like you say, maybe just pushing that little bit too hard. They've not done a bad job of elbow healthcare on the Flores, using the Rotero drones. He's managed to take out a lot of the utility around that area. They're still being held at bay by Fultz, who's got 2 more smoke canisters in pocket, so can still burn about another minute or so, as well as continuing to challenge that position. He's looking to get aggressive, actually. Needs to be careful. He's just doing that so that he can deploy that canister into the most effective position, but needs to be careful there. Fultz doesn't want to throw his life away. Speakeasy taking down Forrest with a beautiful headshot through the soft wall.
And to a second as well. Speakeasy finally coming online here, making a little bit of room for his team, but told you not the place to be. A good cross held though here between Hot and Cold and Fultz, and I think with no pressure on the south side, this is theirs to the taking as well. 60 seconds to go. Find one more, and there is just one left. It's Ape inside of blue here. Gonna have to try and isolate 2 separate 1v1s, but no idea there's a player in behind pillar, I think. In fact, no, he's got the idea, but he looks the wrong way at the wrong time. It's Fultz on the swing with a shotgun, and for a second there, SSG may be feeling a little bit nervous, but still get the 4-0 close.
Well, it's always, you know, in a 1v2, there's always that opportunity for Ape there. He gets that first kill maybe, and you're in a 1v1. It's anybody's at that point. So yes, you know, you've always as a team in that situation with the advantage. Got to be careful. You know, really the way to go about that is to engage at the same time, because of course, you know, there's no way that Ape can look in 2 directions at once. No way that he can try to take multiple gunfights. So SSG closing that out well, getting themselves round 4 on the board, and they now have an opportunity just to again continue that rotation, head themselves back up to dorms, and just get themselves continued with what is so far a pretty smooth game for SSG.
That's it. I mean, again, nothing really seems to be slowing them down. Elevate have had that tactical timeout. They had the good breather. They've gone through, you know, 4 rounds now, 3 different sites in that time too, and still come up absolutely short. The last time they got closest was that one just then, and that was off the back of 2 kills from Speakeasy. Outside of that, 3 kills across 4 rounds, Tim. I know it feels bad to keep on highlighting it, but to have 5 kills as a team across 4 rounds, it's not exactly encouraging.
Attackers must locate and defuse
Oh, look
the
at
bomb.
Jano here. Straight out the front door and not even caring that they see him. And he uses it as a bait.
Yep.
I love that. Jano is the bait there. They always think, okay, look towards main door, look towards main door. Then straight out a classroom window comes Merc, gets himself a freebie, I believe, and that's it done and dusted. Wonderful stuff once again.
And that's the sort of experience that I was talking about, you know, from a player like Merc. You bring him in, you know, he's played so much of this game that those ideas are going to come easy. And as a team, they just, you know, they're really just gelling very well. It's good to see from SSG at the minute. There's still, you know, a game to be finished here, but I just really don't see it going anything but SSG's way. I think the only question now is probably the scoreline.
Yeah. I like that they have the Ying on side, although the immediate response from the others is that Merc's on the Warden, so it doesn't matter what you try and bring here to not so much cheese them, but to catch them off guard with those Candelas, just full blinding anyone that seems to be either in the room that it's in or in the room next to it. It's an absolute nightmare to deal with. But really, Oppe's Operator is the one that you want to keep an eye on here. If they're going to get any success in this round, it's probably going to come from that Ying.
Sunan's just going to be droning in ahead of the man trying to get established inside of Attic, just playing onto the window there. Going to be clearing out utility. That's something that Elevate have done well. I've got to give them the credit where it's due there. They've done a great job of clearing out utility. Healthcare, particularly on the Flores, using those Rotero drones well, clearing the path, taking out barbed wire shields. Hot and Cold getting so aggressive here, like you said, to play right up on the trophy door like that, just waiting for that exposure from Master Bedroom is just...
Look at it, like,
there you go. That's what it is.
And then Forrest has got the flanking kill too from behind as well. Like, how do you even stop this? I mean, it's easy to say, oh, bring a Nomad, watch the flanks better, but they committed so many drones to moving forwards that they have basically nothing left, but there's only 3 in back pocket, and it's been this way now for about 30 seconds. Just running out of tools, not able to make, stack up in the gunfights, and in a way, being caught unawares by SSG time and time again.
The thing is, it's not even just about shutting down the flanks, because the problem at the minute is SSG just used the flanks, yes, but they did that because they could.
Yeah.
If they can't, they'll do something else. They've already shown us that. You know, they've had a few rounds where they've taken them head-to-head gunfights. They've had a few rounds where they've used the flanks. So if they do bring the Nomad, they bring the gridlock, right, let's shut the flanks off. SSG will just do something else. That's the problem for Elevate at the minute.
They've played spawn peaks, they've played baiting spawn peaks, they've played crossfires, they've played roaming. It doesn't really seem to matter what you try and, you know, come up against, they're still going to shut you down. And sorry, I thought he was out of classroom window at the start of this round. I saw him drop towards the left, but no. In fact, maybe it was the second player coming out of classroom at the same time. But this is what I mean. Titan killer at the back stairs. Easy kills on the flanks. Yeah, this sounds bad. I'm not trying to say it's like they're ranked players, but that's the kind of stuff that would happen to you in ranked. That you'd have an Ella charge up behind you and just blast 3 of you in the backside whilst you're all looking the wrong way. You know, it's supremely confident by SSG so far, and that's really the only summary I can give to it. Again, I hate to keep on coming back to it, but looking at the kills down the left-hand side of your screen, 6 across 5 rounds.
Barely enough to win one.
1.2 per round.
Barely enough to win a round.
Yes.
You know, is the way to look at that. And it's always going to be tough for Elevate if they can't be winning those gunfights. But
5 seconds remaining.
I said it coming in. I'll say it again. Forest and Fultz, 100+ kills each through stage 1.
Yeah.
This SSG team looks good.
They do. And it's another thing I will say is that we are obviously in phase 1 of the competition, right? This is designed to give, I don't want to say Elevate are like a lesser team from a lesser region, right? Because they've been at so many international events now, it's not even funny anymore. They are very much a part of the Tier 1 circuit, but with the changes they've had to go through themselves, you know, I would hate to be any team coming up against SSG in my first game of the competition, because you know it's a death sentence. I would argue SSG so far in this game is probably not the best out of any team that we've seen so far today in terms of the command and control they've had of the game, the gunfights they're winning. Everything is just going their way right now. And Elevate, they're struggling for ideas. Speakeasy almost losing his life again, and Forrest almost being traded down to a slither of HP. Almost got away with it, but Speakeasy with a great bit of movement in towards Trophy does get the shutdown.
Now, Elevate need to take their chance. They've got the opener. They've got, you know, a big gunner off the board with Forrest going. 5 versus 4. It's on a tertiary site. This could be their opportunity. Every comeback starts with a single round, and that is what they need to find here. They need to get this top floor control for starters. Jnano's going to look to hold on to it. He ducks, he weaves, he finds a beautiful kill with a headshot onto Speakeasy at trophy door. Jnano still holding on for the time being. Like you say, they've got got the full white flash. You've got to get in there and take advantage. But no, J9O is still in position.
Good read from Ape to get into this spot as well, though. I like that transition across and making use of the skeleton key to get to work. It should force SSG to back away here as they're down 2 players, but that's a minute and a half being wasted up top there as well. Hot and Cold suspecting that there's going to be a push coming in this way, and he's absolutely correct as Healthcare has rotated over towards Small Tower.
All the changes coming in from SSG here as they just adapt to the fact that they've got a few less bodies to try and hold on with now. We're going to see the mirror window taken away by Fultz. Hot and Cold actually gets quite aggressive down there, right up at the bottom of Shower's corridor, just trying to prevent any small tower control being taken by Elevate. In contrast, they've got themselves established above. They're trying to work those vertical angles, but that's why you've seen SSG just sort of dip away from sight. They don't want to stay sat in there because they don't want to give them the opportunity from above. And it's going to be Merc who manages to find Healthcare, leaving them in a 3 versus 3.
It's such a good read from SSG as well, because what they've understood is that they want kids control upstairs to control vertical into kitchen. So what have you seen SSG do? Destroy their own mirror window, get out in towards dining, and basically say, we don't want to play inside a kitchen, but we want to hold long angles against you. That's Fultz that you saw inside of dining, but it's a good 2 versus 1 coming out on towards him. And finally, Elevate have some control. Hot and Cold, not realizing there's a player so close, might get himself inside for free. How have they let him get away with this? Down to a 1 versus 1. Up green he runs. There is no time for Sunan to catch him here. Hot and Cold with a real smash and grab gives SSG a 6-0 half.
How on earth does Hot and Cold get away with that? He gets spotted in Zulu, Des. They know where he is. The call has got to come. You know, he's heading your way. He's gone back through towards security, but no, there was the man cover inside. They're trying to get the diffuser down. There's a man cover there who's just holding completely the wrong angle and gets taken down. Look, you can see just looking down, I think it was Ape, it was looking down towards dining, and Hot and Cold takes full advantage.
It was a real combination of things coming into play there as well. One, a really smart read by Hot and Cold that the last man he had to worry about really was on Zulu facing him. So why fight him? Why risk dying to him? You haven't got a push meeting. That's what originally he wanted to do. But then Redicate them. Well, if he's here, that means 2 are on site. Oh, Merc, can you take a challenge here and force him to look at you? So Merc was crossing towards dining where Fultz had died, and I think Elevate assumed dining is safe. No one can challenge us from there, not realizing Merc was going to retake that ground and fight back against them. So whilst Ape's looking in towards dining to fight against Merc, Hot and Cold full sprints through security, brings down Ape in the 2v1, kills the planter, and Sunan then is like, well, guys, I'm screwed. I can't help you here. I've got to chase him down. Like, again, it was a really good read on the situation, I think, by SSG, and Elevate were they were checkmated there before they even knew it. They were 3 or 4 turns ahead, SSG. Nothing more to be said. A 6-0 half is dominant. But yeah, now that Elevate finally get something on the board in this second half, I'm not convinced. I don't think SSG let go of the stranglehold, not with the confidence they've built up.
No, they've got an opportunity now, at least, I guess. You know, get yourselves onto defense. At least SSG have to play into your game to a degree. I'm not too sure about this. Ape is up on that top floor at the minute, just looking to play the roam game. And with the way SSG are playing at the minute, this is no surprise. Merc's going in there, super aggressive. Drone's just ahead of him. If they spot Ape up here, he's going to be a goner.
Looking the wrong way at the moment. Ape finds 1.
That's great. That's great.
Merc will know. In fact, there's 2 of them pushing in here as well. They've got to find him first.
Oh,
what a read!
Happy.
Straight onto Forest as well. Down goes 1 more before J9O gets Healthcare elsewhere around the map. So a little bit of balance back across here. I'm just as long as Hot and Cold and Merc are up, I'm perpetually nervous. 8-2 and 8-0. Even between the 3 players that are alive here, you're looking at 23-5 between them. Like, that is nothing to scoff at, even if it's only 3 players.
I was genuine. I said it at the time. I was genuinely concerned about Ape out on the roam and surviving. Here we go, 3 versus 2. Going to take the hot drop, but no, try to just run in through the laser gate. Somehow it ends up in a 1 versus 2. Just kills raining down in either direction. J9O pushing in. You know that he's got the skills to make this a 1v1. But no, Sunan, the stand-in, manages to stand out and find his kill onto J9O.
Yeah, real good little dip to the left-hand side there as well. Crouch down, Mark 14 in hand, channeling some of that Super Onigiri that used to be on the team. Super Sunan, we can start calling him now at this point, Tim. It does get them that round on the board. It saves them from a 7-0. Though the one thing I always worry about as defenders is, yes, you can start winning rounds, but you have to rotate through all 3 sites. SSG, in their first 3 rounds, showed they could play all 3. It didn't matter where you played them, they could win. Elevate there, that got a little bit ropey with J9O towards the end, looking to pop off when he found a 3K. And Ape, I will give it to him. 2 mega kills on the top floor, really made sure that round was theirs to control.
Absolutely have to shout Ape out there. As I said, I was a little bit concerned about Elevate playing that aggressive roam game with him up on the top floor. Just with the way SSG have been playing, you know, I thought they were going to be absolutely on point there. You know, straight in behind the drone, bang, get themselves a kill, and they've got the advantage. But Ape absolutely crushed Merc on that second kill. What a beautiful shot it was, holding on to that angle from the top of White Stairs. He really did set his team up for success there and left SSG just having to throw a bit of a Hail Mary, really. Yeah, let's just try and hot drop the hatch. Let's just try and see, you know, what we can get going here in the 2v3. So, well played, Elevate. You know, they've got a real opportunity to double down on that now. Back up to Dorms, another good site that they can try to lock down.
Did you say he absolutely did it? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Close enough.
No, I
I thought
don't
absolutely was a little bit closer, a little bit more subtle.
You've never been known for subtlety, Des.
That is true. That is true. It's more your forte, that one. I'll give you that.
It is a little.
All right, let's see how it goes. Let's see if Elevate can keep on holding on. Tolji at the very least here, out towards Big Tower side, has been seen by this drone that J9O has been set on for the longest time. He's looking to make use of this Amaru, who has a Gara hook, which lets her pick out a window with a gadget and spring into action, like you're probably going to see just here. Here we go. Whee! Straight into the top of tower and ready for a gunfight. But Tolji is already dipped away. In fact, no, hanging just towards the lower end of green. And that's Ape actually taking the spots here. So they're changing around who's playing what exactly. Now Merc's been taken down at the very start of the round. Healthcare going down second, as we saw in the previous rounds. Has lost out a couple of gunfights here on the defensive side, but his team, at the very least, have kept the scoring even.
Not a bad start again from Elevate, looking up that opening kill. Merc, you know, taking some nades with him. So that's not going to be ideal as far as SSG are concerned. But other than that, they are not the worst operator to lose in this situation. You've still got your hard breach that you need. But there go a couple of E1D scans as Ape takes down Fultz, and that leaves us now in a 4 versus 3. And Elevate again are looking pretty good. That keeper barricade, unfortunately, is going to prevent them from stopping the Selma charges, which will now make Attic a lot more difficult to hold.
Absolutely, it will work against them at least a little bit there as well. However, Ape again. He was inside Classroom for his first kill. They haven't dealt with him. Speakeasy's found 2, Sunan the 5th. Elevate are warming into it. I know that it's only a couple, but that round looked extremely confident, even in comparison to their first defense.
1 round at a time. That's all that Elevate can focus on here. 1 round at a time. Unfortunately for them, coming up is what is going to be one of their most difficult rounds. They've won the 2 primary site choices. They're now on to tertiary. It's going to be meeting or dining, and it is not going to be easy. This is where this match could be effectively won or lost. If Elevate are able to hold on to this 3rd choice site, they start their rotation again, just like SSG did. And let's be honest, at the half, were we thinking that a 6-0 return run-in from Elevate was likely? I'll man's up and say absolutely no, I wasn't. I'm still not sure it's going to be the case yet, but if they win this round, that is the point where things start to turn in my mind a little bit.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's one of those where I think you give it another round, maybe you see a timeout from SSG. We'll see how things shape up from here. They've still got a lot of things they can experiment with, but again, Elevate are building in confidence, which no doubt will start to make SSG at least a little bit apprehensive as well. Here we go, though, for the true offsite. This is that kind of quarter mark I speak about. It was interesting because we always speak about halves in Siege, but then I think a while ago, I think I said to Fresh something like, oh, you know, in that first quarter they played, well, he was like quarters. And I was like, yeah, and it's like, it's a pretty fair concept, actually, because a lot of teams after 3 rounds will take their time out because they've already played through the first 3 sites. And, you know, some defensive teams, you're forced to rotate. If you win the site, it's locked for 2 rounds, but if you lose, you can replay it. But teams often wouldn't stay on the same site. They rotate through their 3-site rotation as if they were still winning rounds, and that was kind of the 2 quarters split. You played each site twice, once in the first quarter, once in the second. So that kind of end of the 3 rounds mark is a really good point to take a timeout or take pause anyway, and just evaluate what you have to change to get the win on the round. Let's not forget, SSG have only got to win 1 round, whether it's by winning it, playing air quotes normally, or through cheesing it, doesn't really matter. They just need 1 round.
I always like that breach. We're in the meeting side. that here, and just you can get into garage very quickly. You can breach the wall that goes through from sort of the main lobby area on the right side, and it just gives a line of sight straight through meeting, and it makes it very difficult for players to play in and around that benches area that we see that's quite common, and also potentially towards sandbags. So just by opening that, you really do make this site a lot more difficult to hold.
I really wish more teams would push in through that wall as well. I think it was a Team Secret classic, a good probably about 18 months to 2 years ago now. But what you'd often see them do is open up that wall and then just push in hard, using something like a Ying, get a plant down, make use of the utility that the defenders had already set up like shields. And it was a real good way to catch teams off when they expected you to either clear top floor first or come in through big tower. But not really too many teams do it. Forrest is the one working his way forwards, and with the Blackbeard shield on his face. Well, good luck dealing with that. Here's Tolji off on the flank, though. Not quite being won by the one man, and why not? Good pleasure. Just get the Gara hook in there. In we go. Top floor control established. But, of course, we've got to worry about the downstairs, as that is where the site sits.
Appe's lurking in attic as well. There's a real opportunity for him here, and I don't think SSG are aware. You can see just off to the side of your screen, you've got that red silhouette, and that is one of the SSG players just inside against Storms. And Ape once again, absolutely decimating Space Station with a huge double kill that could just swing the round.
He can't keep getting away with this, Tim. It's the second time, if not the third, that he's been the backstab, the thorn in the side against Elevating. This is almost like feeling like you've done the job. Okay, we're in top floor. We've checked a bunch of real kind of obvious corners. Sweet. There can't possibly be someone inside of attic or inside a pit, but that's exactly where Ape was waiting, just not quite being diligent enough with the drones. Fultz almost managing to find Speakeasy here. A 2v3 with 25 seconds to go, though. We've got to see SSG pick up the pace and try and go for broke here, essentially.
Yeah, there's no option. They've just got to push in and try and do something. Initially, it's going to be find a kill or two, more than likely. I can't see a realistic opportunity where Fultz gets this diffuser down. It's actually Hot and Cold, sorry, that's going to go in for the plant. Fultz is on the cover, but he just can't help his man. Hot and Cold tries to come off and challenge, but told you, with a big double to close that out. And as I said, that for me is the tipping point where I don't say it's a definite, but I say it's a possibility that Elevate run this back to overtime.
This, I think, really, again, is where the tactical timeout should come from SSG. There's been 3 rounds in a row now. You've been backstabbed. Yep, there it is. Timeout comes through. Completely understandably, again, 3 rounds in a row that Ape has absolutely decimated them. You know, again, 3 rounds ago, we were looking at Elevate and saying, okay, they've got like 7 kills across 6 rounds. No one's really making themselves heard. Ape has now climbed his way up to 10 kills he's currently sat on, and is tied with Hot and Cold, who's top on the other side. That is an unbelievable comeback across the space of 3 rounds, and even Tolji, that round there, I think he collected a 3K in the end of things. SSG needs to put the brakes on and put them on fast, and this is why I always say there are 2 halves to a game of Siege. I know in that first half they rolled them over. I did think that momentum would carry on, but it's just proof again, you can never truly count a team out, even if things are going catastrophically wrong in the first half.
Well, they're certainly showing us how to turn it around. A good bit of mental fortitude on display from Elevate, and I, for one, love to see it. You know, we never like a one-sided match, Des. We've got a little bit of a taste for overtime, if we're honest.
We do.
I'm not getting carried away yet. There's 3 rounds to be found, and I'm sure a lot of the North American and Space Station gaming fans will be sat out there thinking, this is a matter of time. You know, this is a flash in the pan. It's any round now, we're going to win it. We will see.
You keep believing that.
We will see. We will see. We know that Elevators and Org at least are capable of those big, big moments.
Absolutely are. Well, here we go again. Into that final quarter of regulation. Going back through the same 3-site rotation. Ape, again, is the one to control. He's out here once again on the Oryx, opening up a couple of hatches. If you are new to Siege and haven't seen Oryx, this character with the purple background with the like boot as the actual icon inside of that square, his ability lets him hop up and down hatches. And of course, dash very, very fast, can knock other operators down. Very good against things like Monty, the shield operator that we saw earlier on from Sunon. So keep an eye on him because he'll be very mobile around the map. That's the whole idea, and it's really hard to lock him down given he can smash his way through soft walls. He has a bailiff as his secondary. It means he can open rotation holes if he wants to as well. Just all in all, quite a frustrating operator to catch, and also has a pretty decent gun to boot.
Speakeasy just going to be dropping himself back down into the basement, a little bit closer to site. May choose to just challenge those
tell you what,
stairs a little long.
Those first 3 operators for SSG, the Jackal, the Lion,
That's
the
like
Nomads.
saying, right, we just need to win this now.
We know, but it doesn't even say need to win this. That says to me, we need to stop Ape.
We need to stop Ape, and we just need to get this done.
Ape needs to stop acting like how his name sounds, because he is monkeying all over the map. It's like playing against someone in rank when they just will not stop and slow down. They're just jumping in and out of windows. They're chasing you around the map. They're an absolute headache to deal with. So really here, the game plan is sniff out an area of the map, make sure Ape's not there, lock it down with air jabs. Don't let him back into that zone again, and then use that control you've established, hopefully with a bit of security, to be able to work your way forwards.
As it stands at the minute,
Oh my God,
Ape
you can't stop
going
him.
to find one. They hadn't checked hiding. He's going to be found
They've caught
in
him.
green hole. They just need to move forward now with a little bit of confidence, get him taken out, and that will surely be the case. As Fultz comes around the corner, he sees the blood trail. Ape has managed to get himself a couple more seconds of life, but that is going to be all as Fultz picks up the final kill. It's going to be challenged from green stairs, though, and I like this from Elevate. They get the opening kill, and then they keep the pressure on. They don't just sit back.
No, and it's easy to do that, I think, as a losing team, to sit back and not want to contest and fight, you know, just trusting the site and your utility to win. I like they're still getting out on the map and trying to fight this one, and for a second there, I really thought Tolji was going to commit towards trying to get Ape back up. He was really going to fight for green alongside the information coming out of Ape while he was down, because you can still ping, you can still talk, of course. All that info can still come out if you aren't yet finished off, but the blood trail did lead Fultz and his very keen nose right towards Ape's location. 4v4 then, they've got rid of the main final boss in Ape here. Is this SSG's time to break things wide open?
You look at Elevate, and a few players have started to step up. You can't help but notice the lack of kills coming in from Healthcare so far. He could be that difference maker at this point, and just as I say it, Des, he comes in with a huge double, and that might just be what Elevate needed. Fultz is down as well, and it really broke the back of that SSG push as they tried to move in through bunker. They tried to get aggressive, and Healthcare said, this is my moment. This is where my contribution's coming in, and it really has just got them the round as he finds a triple, goes for another, will be shut down by J90, but surely a matter of moments.
Oh my God,
until
again!
the round is
Again!
won. Same player, same spot, same result. Sunan closes out the round.
I like how J90 doesn't try and slow peek the angle this time. He actually pushes aggressively, but Sunan is just tucked right back and collects the kill for free as well. 4 rounds on the bounce now, and it's starting to get a little bit ropey for SSG. Even bringing down Ape, as you say, Healthcare was unleashed. 3 kills in the round for himself as well, after being what? I think he was 0 and 8?
0 and 8 coming in.
0 and 8 and gets a 3K.
The reason that I picked up on Healthcare there is I'm not trying to single anybody out and say, that's not good enough, but my point was Elevate are in this position where they're really coming back at SSG, and at this point they need to take it up another notch, really put them to the sword at this point. And there was just that gaping hole where I look and I think, you know what, if Healthcare comes forward with a couple of kills as well, that is going to take Elevate to a next level. That is going to take them into the next gear. And right on cue, he just steps up and absolutely smashes the end of the round.
Well, no successful attacks so far on this map, which tells you the whole story. It is a defender's paradise for the most part. So let's see if anything else can change in this round. I'm not honestly expecting it to at this point, given just how strong Elevate have looked. I think with them building in confidence as well, you're not seeing them like lose their marbles after each round. They're staying quite calm and composed and just saying, look, boys, we got this. We're doing well. Let's keep going. Let's keep on cracking. Again, not forgetting that Sunan is a stand-in for them. He is their coach. Doing pretty well, mind you. Going at 4 and 6, it doesn't sound like he's, bringing the roof down. And sure, he's not. But he's won a couple of great 1v1s against J90 in what would have otherwise become 1v1 clutchable situations for J90.
6 deaths in 10 rounds, though, and that's another important factor. 4 rounds where he's survived, and often for the stand-ins, that's really not the expectation.
No.
So, yeah, absolutely. Sunan going well, and 2 of those kills being the final kill in a round that picks up the round for them. So, yeah, certainly working out as well as you could realistically hope at the minute. Fultz, he's just going to be looking to get himself maybe a little bit of aggression up the green stairs there. He knows that Ape is somewhere around here, and Ape is, well, the problem that just can't be solved at the minute for SSG.
Nope, absolutely not. Fultz marching his way forwards. He's got the right idea.
Did he?
Just not in time.
Just short of
Yeah,
time.
I think he realised once he got up there, he's like, oh, I'm just out of time on this one. That's unfortunate. Does he know, though? Oh, no. I thought for a second Ope was going to go out the door there and try and find faults before he could recover from the animation, but no. Opted to play it safe and has now dropped his way in towards the basement. Again, that is the kind of void when you're defending this top floor, which means he can reappear anywhere and look to backstab SSG.
Yeah, I mean, he's already done a great job of wasting time. We're halfway through the round. SSG are now starting to look towards site. Keeper barricades are going to be going out just to prevent the push coming through from Forest. Seriously limit his angle there that he can hold through towards Trophy, so much so that he moves on and says he's got to push from another angle.
All right, well, Ope's hanging, I think, just down and towards Armory stairs, so if he can work his way up from there, he can provide some good support here. They've got the right idea. Oh, it's a swing coming in, but Merc finds his man first. Good opening kill, and it's good to see Merc back on the old faithful in the Ash as well.
Healthcare does get taken down. Told you manages to pick up a Capcan kill there as J9O not spotting the EDD as he goes through a doorway. 4 versus 3. SSG need to take this opportunity. 50 seconds left to go. This is their chance. They're being challenged from Attic. They know Merc. He's getting aggressive. Surely finds one. Yes, he does. He's going to get the backstab into Attic, but no, he gets beaten to it. 4 versus 1, and surely this is SSG's moment, Des.
Merc has just torn them apart, but Ope, he's feeling himself now up to 12 kills. He's still got 3 more to find. It's a lot to do, but if anyone's going to be able to do it, it's going to be him. They've got a little bit of help coming in from the Bulletproof. A little bit of the Weeboos coming out as well. Finds one and brings down Merc. Oh my God, surely this one isn't clutchable all the way through. He drops down expecting one to be low, but it's absolutely not the right place to be looking. Going to work his way up towards White, but I think he's got 2 air jabs to run over here. There's the second one going off. Down to the last 23 seconds. He's got to step in and find at least one in the 1 versus 1. Their angle was looking so good. He isolates for one, but Forrest finds him. For a second, you could see it coming to be, but they just about managed to hold on. We'll go to a quick break, and when we come back, we'll break things down. Hello there, and welcome back to the desk. That was a fun one, Tim.
It was. I found my glasses during that as well.
Found mine as well. Actually, someone like haul a whole bag in here just to give them to me because I can't see anything across there. But no, really an exciting game. I think we were expecting a 7-0 given how good SSG looked.
Especially for first half.
I mean, Ope, I think, has already made a good name for himself internationally there. Not that he hadn't previously,
ridiculously
but
good.
Jesus Christ, he was running around in circles.
Yeah, it really was. As you say, they just couldn't hold on to him no matter where he was. They brought the Jackal, so what did he do? Killed the Jackal. It was just, yeah, absolutely fantastic. But, you know, overall, I think you've got to look at SSG there. I'm sure there's a lot they're going to take away from that because they will have expected to win that in more emphatic fashion. You know, they don't want teams from a 6-0 half being able to come back into it like that.
No, absolutely not. I mean, really, when you're in that kind of position, it should be a full controlling close over towards the end. But again, I really enjoyed SSG's defending. I thought the way they controlled the map was really good. We saw them, again, go for crossfires. We saw them go for extended holds. We saw them go for really aggressive roams, double spawn peaks, you name it. They were just really keeping Elevate at arm's length for as long as they can. And I really thought we'd see Elevate crumble coming into the second half. But to give them fair credit, again, Alpe did a lot of the work. But even when he died in the round, I think it was 10, still showed us that there was plenty that could be done and that his team can still close things out. So I don't want to say I'm like going to sit here and say that I believe Elevate can beat NIP later, but there is probably a very fair chance that they'll put on a good show.
I tell you what, I said it to you in the break there, and I'll say it again. I'm looking forward to that best of 3 because, you know, given what we saw from NIP, they were good, but it's not, you know, the best performance we've ever seen out of NIP. And I think Elevate are going to be a bit of a match for them. I don't think it's going to be straightforward, especially in a best of 3. And I think we could be on for, I won't say a classic, but I think it could be a very good decider.
Especially with how good NIP can look at points. Yeah. It's going to prove to be a really interesting game. Now, in case you guys didn't know, we actually have a pet here in the studio with us. Let's over to our little guinea pig on the desk with Forrest.
I cannot believe you just did that. You look like a doctor, by the way. I was going to make that joke, but thanks. We have Forrest here from SSG, so I'm going to keep this really quick and concise because I know you guys are not feeling too best. But there was a lot of expectations from the roster coming into NAL. You know, you got the Astralis, you have CSM, then you guys made it third. So how does it feel to be here on the international stage, getting that shot to prove yourselves?
You know, we earned it. Like, we thought we could be here, so obviously we want to be in phase 2, but that's fine being here in phase 1, just where things aren't out until then. Yeah,
well, also looking at the performance today, you guys started with a bang. 6-0. It was really great. It took a little bit to get back into the swing of things. So what happened between then and closing out the game?
It was just getting caught off guard, simple as that, really. You know, just those dudes were just playing nothing to lose at that point.
Yeah.
It got a little silly.
Yeah, I mean, it does happen on LAN. So being on LAN, by the way, how does it feel being here? Are you having a good time at least?
Yeah, it feels better, but it's like I'll kill someone faster, but I'll also die faster at the same time.
Okay, fair enough. There's Six Karma, your competition for Wednesday. They had a pretty convincing game themselves. So looking at that, how are you feeling confidence-wise?
They're sprint partners. Like, we know what they do, but they know what we do as well. So, like, it might be another silly game, but
okay.
Who knows?
It's going to be an interesting one. Well, thank you for taking the time to answer the questions. We're going to be heading to a break, and we'll be back shortly.